That's good. Hey guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. It's Olivia, and today we are doing a little Bible study. We're going to be deep diving into Genesis chapter 1 and really going into depth. I also wanted to go into detail about the words and what they mean, even going as far as understanding them in Hebrew, the Hebrew definitions for these words. They are very important, and I recommend all of you guys, when you read Genesis, get you a study Bible, because most of the time the study Bible will have the Hebrew word and the definition behind it, and I've noticed that the Hebrew definition and word is a lot more thorough. It goes into more detail and depth. So it's very important, guys, when you read your Bible, make sure that you look up the Hebrew definition as well, because it is so good. Straight into the word, we're going to go to verse 1-2, where it says, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters." First of all, a question that a lot of people have when coming into the faith: where did God come from? Who is God? Well, if we skip a little forward to Exodus, when he's speaking to Moses in the burning bush, he says, "I am who I am, the one who is, the one who exists. I am who I am, the one who is." And it is also said that when we breathe, we make the sound of Yahweh, which is so crazy, because when we skip a little forward to chapter 2, he breathes his breath of life into Adam, and Adam comes to life. What is also crazy is, if you translate, if we go back to verse 2, and it says the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters, that translates in Hebrew to ruach. I'm going to put it right here. I don't know how to pronounce it too well. It's Hebrew for spirit, wind, or breath. I have here some more names of God: Adonai, the Lord Master; El Elyon, the Most High God; El Olam, the Everlasting God; El Roy, the Strong One who sees; El Shaddai, Lord God Almighty; Elohim, God of power and might; Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide; Jehovah Mikodishkim, the Lord who sanctifies us; Jehovah Nisi, the Lord my banner, my victory; Jehovah Ra, the Lord my shepherd; Jehovah Rapha, the Lord that heals; Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of hosts; Jehovah Shalom, the Lord is peace; Jehovah Tisdiku, the Lord of righteousness; Yahweh, Lord Jehovah; Kana, jealous God; Jehovah Shammah, the Lord is present. Going back into the word, because we literally stopped at the first 4 words, but they are just so important. Now we're going to go to created. God created. He formed, he sculpted, he molded. The Hebrew word for this is bara, and it's to form or fashion, to produce, to create. And the original verb for this is the idea of carving or cutting out. He created the heavens. The heavens is the sky, and the earth. The earth was without form, so it needed to be formed. It needed to be molded. It needed to be sculpted, right? And void. Void, what does that mean? It means it's empty. And darkness was on the face of the deep. What is deep? If you go to the Hebrew translation, tehom, it means primordial, chaotic, deep ocean. Then God said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Going back to bara, creating, when I mentioned cutting and carving, what does that have to do with the forming of earth, of God constructing this earth, right? Well, light illuminates darkness. It eliminates it. It cuts it out. Once there's light, there's no more darkness. So what he did was he cut out the darkness. And at this time, he hadn't even created the sun and the stars yet. God is the light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Now, what does divided mean? Divided means to be separated or disagree, or a physical barrier, meaning that light and darkness have a disagreement. They don't agree with each other, so they can't subside in one another. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and morning were the first day. Now, this part really stuck out to me. Evening and morning were the first day. He did not mention night at all, and that just really stuck out to me. But when I researched it, it did say because evening drifts into nighttime. But what I was thinking was, I thought a little deeper into it. I mean, God can create in any circumstance. God is powerful. But for us, while we're still in the dark, while we're still in the void, we can't create. We can't produce any fruit while still being in the dark. Because what fruit are you truly producing? Because darkness, what was it? It was chaotic, right? So while you're in the dark, you can't can't create something that's firm or stable. And that's just something that I got. That's just what I took from it. Then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. What does that mean? When he said divide the waters from the waters, what he was talking about is we had the seas, we had the oceans, right? But there was also mist. When he created this firmament, these waters which were above provided a protective greenhouse effect over the world of that period. And if you go to the Hebrew translation of firmament, it's rakaya, and it means expanse. Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And God called the firmament heaven, the skies. Another word that I put for the firmament to help you guys gain a little understanding, I put vapor blanket. I also went ahead and put dome as well. So the evening and the morning were the second day. Then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together. Now I wrote a little note there. I wrote union because that means that at first, while in the chaos, there was no unity. And I also was thinking about the fact that the waters had completely covered the earth. If you go further, it says, into one place, let the dry land appear. The ocean had completely drifted over the dry land. And so God had to speak to the ocean and say, okay, y'all gotta gather together, let the dry land appear. So the reason I put union is because without God, there is no union. There's no agreement. And that's why in the beginning, it says darkness was on the face of the deep. It was chaotic. It was chaotic. What does that mean? There was no union on this earth. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters he called seas. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind. So something that really stuck out to me when I was reading that verse, yield. What does yield mean? I went ahead and I looked it up, and yield means to produce, right? But I saw other definitions. I also saw surrender. So what I took from those two words being together was servicing the earth. And if you go forward, I'm sorry, I had already read this before a couple of times. If you go forward, God literally says, I gave you these trees that they may bear fruit for you. So it was just a servicing. These fruit trees, these trees that are yielding seeds and the grass that's bringing forth the grass that's bringing forth herb, all of that, it's working in its purpose that it's called for, the purpose that God has given it. Verse 11, then God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth. And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. Now, what's something that really stuck out to me was it saying according to its kind, according to its kind, according to its kind. And I was just really thinking, why was that so specified? But if you look in today's day at what scientists are currently doing, like they're breeding certain breeds and they're mixing certain seeds together to produce new things. And it's basically saying, oh God, what you created wasn't enough. Because God had already created these things according to their purpose and according to their kind. But you see all these things scientists are doing nowadays, breeding all these animals and trying to make new things. And I mean, some of the stuff hasn't even been working out, but it's just all these things that we're trying to do right now. And it's like you're basically saying, God, you didn't make enough. You didn't do enough. You didn't do a good job. When he clearly says, he says it quite often, I saw that it was good. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the third day. Then God said, let there be lights in the firmament on the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons, and for days and years, and let them be for lights in the firmament, and the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Finally, God finally creates the sun and the stars. I kind of paused before we could get to that point, but it basically says two greater lights, the greater lights to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. The lesser lights, less lights. The greater light is the sun to rule the day. And what's crazy is I'm currently in college right now, and I was doing this study on light pollution, and I never realized it until my professor was like, you guys should go outside and try to count how many stars we have. When I was younger, it felt impossible to count how many stars were in the sky. I did not feel like doing it. When I went outside, I counted 4. So right now in this world, we are dealing with light pollution because we have so many lights. We have all these signs and everything. It's causing us to not be able to see the stars as much because we just have all this light. It's what it means, light pollution. We just have so much light pollution, it makes it harder for us to see the stars. So it's basically saying, God, your light isn't good enough. That's basically what this world is saying. God, your light isn't good enough. We need more. So it's like our world just took things into our own control, and now we can't even see the stars anymore. It's so unfortunate because the kids growing up, they don't even know. When I was growing up, there were so many stars in the sky. It was unimaginable. I couldn't even count if I wanted to. I'd lose track. So that's just something to ponder on. So in the verse where it says, let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years, the note that I put for that is signs as in divine messages, seasons, planting, harvesting, holy festivals, as you can see if you go into like Numbers or like Exodus, timekeeping. And I also put Matthew chapter 2 verse 9. When they heard the king, they departed, and behold, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they had come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary and his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. This is the story of the birthing of Jesus. So when it says the signs and the seasons, it's not talking about astrology. And one thing that I was also learning in school was how back in the day when they would kayak, they would make all these boats and go fishing and do all these things and sail. They would actually use the sky. They'd use the stars in the sky. They would use all of those things to help them navigate, to help them with time. And it's so wild. It's so crazy that back then we utilized the stars. We utilize the sky so much. It's so amazing, but it's also so crazy to see how we've evolved and how we don't use it at all anymore. We use our GPS. We use all these things that man has made. It's so crazy because we kind of already had what we needed. I mean, I guess it made it easier, but it's just crazy that God made all of these things for reasons. I mean, he said it right here. I made it because I knew you guys would need it. Verse 15, and let them be for lights in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth. And it was so. Verse 16, then God made 2 great lights, the greater light, the sun, to rule the day, and the lesser light, the moon, to rule the night. He made the stars also. God set them in the firmament of the heavens to give light on the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness, to separate from the darkness. One thing you will notice is it was never truly dark. Without God, there is no light. There is no light without God. And God saw that it was good. So the evening and the morning were the 4th day. Then God said, let the waters abound, that means be filled, with abundance of living creatures, and let birds fly above earth across the face of the firmament of the heavens. So God created great sea creatures and every living thing that moves, with which the waters abounded according to their kind, and every winged bird according to its kind. And God saw that it was good, and God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and multiply, and fill the waters and the seas, and let birds multiply on the earth. Now this verse applies to when God later tells the humans, the beings that he made, also to be fruitful and multiply. Galatians 5:22, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Be fruitful. He said, be fruitful. So he said, be loving, be joyful, be peaceful, be long-suffering, be kind, have goodness, be faithful, be gentle, have self-control, and multiply. He gave us love, and he said, multiply. And multiply, it doesn't just have to mean, oh yeah, I have a lot of babies, but it could also mean spread the love of God, spread the joy of God, spread the kindness of God, multiply it. He gave it to you. He gave you that fruit. Multiply it. So amazing. God is so good. So the evening and the morning were the 5th day. Then God said, let the earth bring forth a living creature according to its kind, cattle and creeping things and beasts of the earth, each according to its kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth according according to its kind, cattle according to its kind, and everything that creeps on the earth according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let us make man in our image. Now, some people will say angels. Some people will say angels. If you go to Romans chapter 8:29, it says, for those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the first born among many brothers. We are called to walk in the image of Jesus Christ. Now, I know this is the Old Testament before he came, right? But he is God. He is God. And we are called to be a reflection, right? And they said to make them in our image, right? What is the image? If you go to 2 Corinthians chapter 3:18, we all with unveiled face beholding the glory of the Lord are being changed into his likeness from one degree of glory to another, for this comes from the Lord who is the Spirit. So my interpretation are the body, the soul, the spirit. We are called to walk as Christ. He is a reflection. We walk with him. He reflects on us. He shines on us. The more and more we walk with him, the more and more we become like him. And he's perfect. I mean, this man he made the world, and he knew us before he even finished forming the world. While he was forming it, mind you, we were on the 6th day. While he was forming the world, he's thinking, oh, this would be nice. They would love this. He was thinking about us before we were even made, before we were even formed. Let us make man in our image according to our likeness. Let them have dominion. What is dominion? Ruling. He gave us ruling, authority, the gift of this land. Nothing but God was to rule us. Dominion over everything. He gave us authority. He said, over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on this earth. So God created man in his image, in his likeness. If you have the study Bible, it basically says light is the presence of illumination in general. Adam and Eve were luminary bodies created in his image, in his light. His light was genuinely reflecting on them. Then God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and multiply. I also want to say, because I kind of crossed over having kids, but being able to create is a blessing. It's a blessing in itself to be able to create. And he said, fill the earth and subdue it, have authority, have dominion over the fish, over the sea, over the birds, over the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Every living thing that's on this earth. This world, these things should not be able to rule you, because God gave you authority. God gave you authority. When he formed you, he said, you have authority. Yes, I walk with him because the authority that I have is an inheritance that he gave to me, because he created me. That's my father. But that's that. It's my inheritance. That's my father. Nothing on this earth should be able to rule me. I should not be bound down to anything of this earth. No creation, no thing. I have dominion. We have dominion. We have authority. Only God rules over us. Over the fish, over the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves on the earth. And God said, see, I have given you every herb that yields seed. I have given you. I circled that. I have given you. I have given you. They were blessed. You were given this land, a tree that yields fruit, that yields to you, that says, come and eat every herb that yields seed which is on the face of the earth, and every tree whose fruit yields seed. To you it shall be for food. Also to every beast of the earth, to every bird of the air, and to everything that creeps on the earth, in which there is life, I have given every green herb of food. And it was so. Then God saw everything that he had made, and indeed it was very good. So the evening and the morning were the 6th day. I also wanted to mention, when he said he made us in his image, that also came with free will, because we were in his image. We were our own beings, right? So he also gifted us with authority and gave us this inheritance of the earth. You cannot allow the things of this world to rule you. Your phone doesn't rule you. What people think of you doesn't rule you. None of it rules you. You have to remember who you are, and you have to claim your authority. You are a son or a daughter of the Most High King. One thing that also stood out to me is how everything was already perfect. God had already made everything perfect. I mean, I don't know how Adam and Eve would even react to seeing how this world looks like today. We've completely taken control of everything when God made it perfect. you know. That's just something I'm also heavily thinking on, is how everything was already perfect, but us as humans, we want more and more and more and more. That's just in our nature. In reading this, I found a lot of correlation to Revelations as well, and I wanted to make a video basically going into depth about how they connect, because I was reading it and I was just getting dumbfounded. Y'all, I've already read Genesis multitude of times, but I was just rereading it over and over and over and over again, really trying to understand. And I see a lot of revelation in Genesis chapter 1. I see a lot of it. So I really hope this reached the person it needed to reach. I'm going to be doing this more often. I want to go into depth with Genesis. I want to go into depth in understanding and even connecting it to Revelation. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. I love you guys so much. You guys are so beautiful, and God made you so intentionally and perfectly. He saw you and he said, you good. So I love you guys so much. Bye. Mwah.